Well, I wouldn't say it's, oh my gosh, why are you doing this? But I say there are things that make us sometimes just sit down and think about it again, not to be offended, but just to embrace that, you know what, it's different culture but same humanity. So one, you find a very good faculty member comes to Nairobi to teach, and then the following day they're starting to post on their status or Facebook page that they're in Africa. You're just in Nairobi. You're just in Nairobi, and you've not exhausted Nairobi. You're just in within KMTC and Kenyatta and Milimani. We've not taken you to Eastlands. We've not taken you to Westlands. So Africa and Nairobi is totally different people. Number two, something that also we make peace with is how it's shocking. It's shocking to our guests when we want to start everything official. We want to, first of all, say a prayer, and then everyone do introduction. I mean, it looks like it's a waste of time. We have to get things go on. But to us, it's like, you know what? That's like affirmation. That's ownership that we are on board together. We are moving on together. Another thing that I think I've seen that also, which is also really good, is that we tend to shy away to share clinical experience or clinical answers with the lecturers. There's that feeling of inferiority complex. So I feel like all the things I've been doing in my life is wrong, and so I should not share with them. But somehow we learn from such experience, we grow from making mistakes, and they never get offended. The faculty never get offended to get to know we be doing it wrongly. They don't get offended. They help us to walk through it. So it's been very finally amazing how we are really struggling to hold, but they were like, just open up, open up. That's another thing. Then the next one is the issue of breaking the ice. If you want to break ice with us, just take pictures with us. Taking pictures, just take pictures. It speaks, it speaks. On the other side, you find the faculty members were like, what? Then lastly is now when we got now to the care setting, you know, we dress so nicely. Our face looks so really good. But sometimes that's not who we are. That's not who we are. We're just trying to show the good side of us. So when you get to the real practice, you literally see the faculty member deeply struggling. They're wounded deeply, like, oh my God, how are these people surviving? So then we come and ask ourselves, okay, are our patients just surviving because of God is in heaven helping them, or what is it? So I think that's basically what I can share about briefly. But they're not something that really offend us. It's just learning the two different kind of cultures. You get to our treatment cubicle and you find we have 10 coaches, but we don't have maybe a stethoscope. And it's just fine with us. But it's because we don't have a lot of control on procurement. Someone decides what to be bought, with or without listening to us.
What do you think, Wilfreda?
What are your observations of Americans?
Okay, my experience is very interesting. Our first experience was in clinical reasoning. Number one, it was the accent. And me being the oldest in the class, you know, I really struggled to listen to what this young lecturer was trying to teach us, and we were like, hey, we can't even get what he's saying. And it was a new concept to us actually, but it was so fast. And so we were like, will we ever get this? So when exam time came, we were still on page 1, me and my colleague from KNH who was almost near my age, and we were like, others are now finishing and us, we are yet to go. will we really finish and will we really get any marks in this exam? And so we got scared, but we said we have to carry on. Then when it came to Pelvic again, we had a professor. We had 3 lecturers actually. Richard was one of them, and we also had a professor, and we had a young lecturer. And the young one took us so fast until he was to be told we could only do 2 modules or what would I call it? 2 examinations, stopped by the professor, because the professor was a little older, so he took us a little slower. Yeah, we needed to go just a little slower for some of us to catch up the pace or to understand what was being taught. And when it came to pelvic health, that was the most interesting one. And that one was now also about culture. The one we were taught in class, and we were like, is this really what we came for? And then we were told the following day we are going to do labs. And labs meant examining the pelvic floor muscle, just like we examine the biceps. And so we were to process this. It took us hours to process that. When we were told to go to the bathroom, to change and come back, I think we took like 2 hours. Just going to the bathroom, dilly-dallying around the corridor, because we couldn't imagine that we were going to expose ourselves, and especially on the pelvic floor, for another person to see in public, in class. So it gave us a rude shock of our life.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, one of us dropped that session immediately the following day, because previously she had said how she had a pelvic floor patient who really needed her care. But because of culture, she couldn't contain being exposed in a classroom with many of us.
What do you think about Americans' concern about time? Is it different than in Kenya?
Yeah,
Very
big
different.
time.
Very different.
Big time. It makes a lot of difference. There's a nice say. It's called what? Americans have the time, and Kenyans have the watch.
No, opposite.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, Americans, we got the watch. Africans have the time.
Yeah.
So to us, it's not offensive to call for a meeting at 8 and start the meeting at 9. It's not offensive. And in fact, the only place we tend to keep time is when we are traveling by plane.
Because it will leave you behind.
That's the time we tend to keep the time. So it's not offensive to say the board meeting or the paper presentation or the class will start at 8 and end at 4. We'll rather start late and end early. We value social life, social interaction, than the main activity, the main business so much. It makes us just be us. But also it's been interesting how uniquely we see how we frustrate the faculty with time. And they can't shout, but they can also shouting in a very mature way. Yeah. But contrary also, when we want to keep time, we can keep time.
Yeah.
That's another thing I've seen. Yeah.